today we are privileged to have a marvelous presenter. Marshall Sylver is a world-renowned educator and hypnotist and a master of interpersonal communication. As an entertainer, he's appeared on stage at many hotels in Las Vegas, as well as on a variety of TV shows such as The Late Show with David Letterman and The Rosie O'Donnell Show. As an educator, he travels the country teaching empowerment seminars and has led training programs for such companies as IBM, Ford, Pepsi, as well as having shared the stage with speakers such as President Clinton and Robert Kiyosaki. Marshall teaches students to be influential, self-powering people. His book, Passion, Power, and Profit, published by Simon & Schuster, is a bestseller, which has been translated into numerous languages and distributed all over the world. Marshall, we are honored to have you lead off 2014. Thank you for sharing your brilliance with us.
Well, I am very excited to be here, and what a fine introduction. I'm going to do a little something at the top of this conversation to give people an insight. It's always nice to know who you're looking at. So a little quick intro video, and we are off to make your business all that it can be and more in 2014. So enjoy the video.
Studying with Marshall, I made $10,000 the very first week, and I learned that there's a million ways to make $1 million. Through Marshall Sylver's information, I was able to walk away from my $80,000 a year job, and now I'm going to more than triple that just in my first year. After Marshall Sylver's program, I earned over $40,000 in 4 weeks. A couple of weeks ago, I actually generated $36,000 a month. Thanks, Marshall. One strategy has helped build my net worth $185,000 in just the last 3 months.
I made $50,000 with the information I learned from Marshall Sylver, 10 grand in one day.
Give us an opportunity for $1 million career that we can do together. It's brought a lot more passion and intimacy in our relationship, and we're so excited about that. Thank you, Marshall.
Want to learn what these ordinary people did to create extraordinary income? Stay tuned to learn from the man many call the Millionaire Maker. Marshall Sylver is the world's leading authority on subconscious reprogramming, a rags to riches success story who went from poor farm boy to self-made multi-millionaire. He has produced and started entertainment extravaganzas worldwide in locations including Caesars, the Sahara, the Riviera, and more. He has appeared on countless television talk shows, including David Letterman, The Late Show, and Montel Williams. His radio show has changed thousands of lives. His books are published by Simon & Schuster and available in many languages worldwide. His tapes and training materials are sold around the globe, and many have become bestsellers. Over 1 million people worldwide have purchased his programs. Marshall is also an expert in the field of persuasion and influence. Thousands of people have come to learn from Marshall the techniques you are about to learn. Hundreds of thousands of people worldwide have experienced this powerful technology, and now you can too. Now here he is, the man many call the Millionaire Maker, Marshall Sylver.
Hello there. So glad you're with me. Hey, if you want to get as much as you possibly can out of our next 55 or so minutes together, here's what I'd recommend. I'd recommend you take as many notes as possible. As a subconscious reprogrammer and a hypnotist, I know for a fact that the more notes you take, the deeper the impression upon your subconscious mind. In fact, approximately 500% greater impact. The first note I think you should take, in nice big bold letters across the top of that piece of paper, is this, the name of our conversation: Take Action Now. When? Right now, because tomorrow never comes. I am very excited to be with you today. As a small business person myself, as an entrepreneur who has made millions of dollars in the entertainment business, made millions of dollars in the educational businesses, made millions of dollars in hard products, and I know what it's like on a day-by-day basis to seek that inspiration, that direction, those tools and powerful strategies that you need to take your business to the next level. I want to give you a little more background on me and then give you some validation as to why I'm positive when you apply what I'm about to teach you, your life, your business, your world will change for the better. I was born and raised on a farm in Michigan. I have 9 brothers and sisters. We were dirt poor growing up. In fact, the house that I lived in for the first few years of my life had no running water, had no electricity, had no phone. Often we had little, sometimes no food. Twice my family was homeless, and my amazing, beautiful mother had to take care of her 10 kids living out the back of a station wagon. The second home we lived in was a converted chicken coop. It was a cold Michigan winter. The local community came together and said, you know, your family will not survive in the cold outside. So they converted a chicken coop. It had running water. It had electricity. Other than clucking sometimes when I get happy, no adverse side effects. Based upon what I'm about to teach you, though, based upon the knowledge that I'm about to give you, that you can apply no matter what your business is, my world is dramatically different. These days, my main residence, in fact, where I'm broadcasting from right now, is a 17,000 square foot home in Las Vegas. Oftentimes, people come to Prosperity Palace, and when they walk into the foyer, they say, I may have stayed at this hotel before. I often ask my audiences, would you like to have a 17,000 square foot home? When they reply yes, I say, be careful what you ask for. My wife and I lived in the house for 6 months before we found a bathroom we didn't even know we had. Often I watch MTV Cribs and feel really bad for those guys. It gets hot in Vegas, and so when it gets hot, our vacation home, our permanent vacation home, is a $10 million home on the ocean in Southern California. There's a state park directly behind me in that picture, so no one can build for 2 miles to the south of me. Unobstructed ocean views. This is my inspiration every single day when I wake up at the beach house and when I go to sleep at the beach house, that beautiful ocean view that inspires me to work a little bit harder. I also am involved, as I mentioned, not just in education, not just in training small businesses to do more sales, to keep focused, to innovate and plan at a greater level. I also am an author. I've written a number of books, some of them published by Simon & Schuster, others published by other publishers. I also am a filmmaker. A couple of years ago, I wrote, directed, starred in, funded from the bottom up a $2 million film. The film is a movie that while you watch it, it actually hypnotizes you to experience what the lead character on the screen is experiencing. So when she feels cold, you feel cold. You cuddle up against your date. When she feels hot, you feel hot. When I was creating the film, the hero of the film is a guy named Sterling Wins. And Sterling is a philanthropist billionaire. When I was thinking about Sterling and I was pondering where would he live, I realized a man like that would live in a palace. And I found a 25,000 square foot palace that we shot his home scenes. It was originally built for the Sultan of Brunei. I also thought, what would Sterling drive or be driven in? Now, I've known a lot of self-made billionaires. I've studied with many, the things that I'm going to teach you during our lesson today. And I knew that Sterling, as a self-made man, would drive himself. And I realized that it would be a unique vehicle. Nothing flashy or necessarily sporty, because he's not a playboy type. When I saw the car, I knew in an instant it's what Sterling would drive. The brand new Rolls-Royce Phantom. Suicide doors, 3-ton automobile. Now, I personally would never drive a $400,000 automobile. I think any man that needs that kind of a car to get from point A to point B is making up for a shortcoming elsewhere. On the other hand, in order to make the movie, I had to rent the car for 10 days. And because it was on my credit card, I made sure that the car stayed protected. And I drove it back and forth between the set and the hotel each night. The first day I drove the car, I thought, what a tank. The second day I drove the car, it started to feel a little bit better. The third day I drove the Rolls-Royce from the set back to the hotel, I pulled up to a stoplight, and a car filled with beautiful women pulled up beside me. Now, out the corner of my eye, I could see they were attempting to get my attention. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I bet they think the car looks pretty good, too. The woman in the back seat rolled her window down, and she motioned for me to roll my window down. And she said, excuse me, but do you have any Grey Poupon? That next day, I went out and bought a brand new Rolls-Royce Phantom. And if you're laughing at that joke, you're 45 years old or older, guaranteed. Now, I still know a lot of people think no one needs a $400,000 automobile to get from point A to point B. And my response is always, until you've driven one. Here's what I want you to write down in your notes. Communication equals wealth. Communication equals wealth. Write this down as well. If you're in business, then you sell things. At some point, you sell service, you sell product, you sell something. I want you to understand that you communicate in two very specific ways, and it is the topic of this conversation we're having. Number one, you communicate internally. You communicate by the 1,500 plus words per minute that are going through your mind, telling you who you are and who you aren't, what you can be, what you can do, what you can have, what's possible for your business, what's going to happen in the current economy, and so forth. You also communicate with others externally. That external communication is called influence. It's your ability to communicate to others in such a way that they would be inspired to ask you for what you're selling and, more importantly, believe it was their idea. I'll get to that in a moment. The powerful process of communication to ourselves, that programming, those 1,500 words per minute, are essential. Oftentimes, business owners and entrepreneurs do not realize the power of those subconscious programs. As I mentioned, having studied with and been mentored by some of the biggest names in business in the world, Donald Trump, Sir Richard Branson, and the likes, I know for a fact that when you get your head on straight, you will automatically start taking newer and more powerful actions. Write this term down. It's 3 letters. PND, psycho-neuro-duplication. I have a 2-day workshop that I've been teaching for the past 25 years. I teach it approximately 10 times a year. It's called Turning Point. At Turning Point, I teach the technology of psycho-neuro-duplication. Simply put, when you think what someone thinks, you'll automatically do what they do and produce a similar result. When you think what a fit, healthy person thinks, you'll automatically take those actions and your body will respond. When you think what a millionaire thinks, you'll do what a millionaire does, and there's no way to stop the money from pouring into your business and into your life. I want you to understand, on a very basic level, the programs of your mind were mostly completed by the time you were 8 years old. Let me give you an example. If you took a child from the time they were born until they were 8 years old, and you said to that child, "You dirty, rotten, good-for-nothing, you'll never amount to anything. You were a mistake. We wish we never had you. You're going to be a criminal. You're going to be a prisoner. You're going to end up dead or in jail. No one's life is better because you exist." Can you feel it? That was 10 seconds. That wasn't even 8 years. There's no real child here. This is imaginary. Yet I promise you, if you took a child from the time they were born until they were 8 years old, and you spoke to that child that way, you would scar that child for life. Now, I'm positive with the countless people we have on this program right now, that there are people that are listening to my voice, watching the presentation right now, that had that and even worse growing up. I know there's at least one. I'm him. You see, from the time I was born until I was through my whole life, my father, when I would call him on the phone to tell him I loved him, would ask, "You little SOB, why are you calling me?" And when I'd say, "Dad, I love you so much, I gotta go," he'd say, "You little MFer, don't ever call me again." He didn't use acronyms. It took me a long time. It took me a long time in the heart of low self-esteem to realize that those programs that my father put into my mind as a child were not about me. They were about him. If you're dealing with baggage from the past, if you've picked up bad habits, addictions, which are generally formed by low self-esteem, I'm going to give you a phrase that when I programmed it into my mind, instantly healed 95% of the damage done by my father. And it's these words. Write them down. If not for yourself, for someone you love. The words are, hurt people, hurt people. See, my father was in pain. He died at 68 years old, a very angry alcoholic, and I'm thoroughly convinced it was the anger that killed him. One of the common denominator traits of wealthy people, successful business people, whether small business or big business, is they find a genuine love for their fellow human beings. They realize that nothing has any power except the power that you give it. And they stop giving their power away to other things, other people, other circumstances. The economy does not have to be your economy. There are companies, there are businesses, there are people that are thriving during these challenging times. I realize that often when people struggle, they don't want to hear that other people are doing well. Just as when I was a kid, I really resented wealthy people. It wasn't until I said, I need to find a mentor. I need to find somebody who can help take my life to the next level, who can show me what I need to do so I don't have to work so hard. On the other side of the spectrum, if you took that exact same child from the time they were born until they were 8 years old, and you said to that child, you are a gift from God. As you grow up, you'll do great things. You'll change many people's lives. Everything you touch will turn to Sylver. And Sterling, my son, of all of the things in my life that I am most proud of, the two things I am most proud of are you and your brother Maximus. Yes, those are indeed the names of my two sons, Sterling Sylver and his brother Maximus Sylver. I know for a fact that if you take a child from the time they're born until they're 8 years old, and you plant those types of programs in their mind early on, you will massively bless that child forever. Write this down. Your self-esteem ties directly to your net worth. Your self-esteem and how you feel about yourself causes you to endure, causes you to take risk, and no risk, no goodies. Your high self-esteem, those powerful subconscious programs of your mind, cause you, even in the face of others telling you it's not possible to succeed, to continue on and to triumph. I know if you're on this program right now, through the course of your life, you've had many people attempt to crush your dreams, to tell you your business wasn't likely to succeed, or even if it was succeeding, that it was limited and that it could not be limitless. I promise you this, that when you change out those old programs of your mind, when you pull in the new, more effective and powerful programs, when you allow me to program your mind with the thoughts of a multimillionaire, you will no longer have to force yourself. You'll no longer have to work hard to make things happen. It will naturally and powerfully unfold. Now, I know for a fact that's true because I know for a fact that those programs of high self-esteem were also given to me as a child. My dear, sweet, amazing goddess of a mother, from the time I was born throughout all of my life, always said to me, Marshall, you will do great things. You will be famous, you will be rich, and then you'll take care of me. My mom passed away last May, and not a day goes by that I don't feel sorrow in missing her. I also am very grateful that I had a mother as amazing as my mom, Virginia, because she allowed me to live my life the exact way that I wanted to live it, and constantly programmed my mind to be a better person. Of all of the things that I'm proud of besides my son, the one thing I am most proud of beyond that is that for the last 20 years of my mother's life, and she passed at 85, I was able, through the programs she gave me in my youth, to provide for her financially in ways that she could have never experienced without me. Now, my dear, sweet, amazing mom, while she programmed me well, also did the most damage to my business, to me financially, anybody had ever done. You see, it's easy to avoid the programs that are negative. It's easy to understand when people are giving you programs like my father did that will harm you. The programs that you think are right and righteous and good that get into your subconscious mind, those are the ones that are most damaging. And my amazing mother, well, wanting to program me well, programmed me with this thought. She said, Marshall, work hard, get ahead. I watched my mother during all of my young years work 3 jobs just to take care of her children. I watched her work herself to the bone in an attempt to survive. I want you to write this down. Those that think govern those that labor. Yes, I'll repeat it. Those that think govern those that labor. I spend my career these days helping business people find hidden revenue inside of their businesses. Often a fish doesn't know it's in water. At my 2-day Turning Point program, the first thing we solve are what are the negative programs of your mind? What are the limiting beliefs that you hold to be true, that are not true, yet you act upon them as if they are, that are holding your business back? Are you not risking at a high enough level? Are you not considering your business from your customer's point of view? Are you not giving offers to people in such a way that they are massively valuable to them? You see, the only time a person ever says no to buying something from you, to doing business with you, is when they believe that there will be a loss, that they believe what they give you will not be equal to or less than what you give back. If I offered to sell you that Rolls-Royce Phantom for $5,000 right now, and you didn't say yes, frankly, I've got nothing to teach you. Now, some people may say, I don't want a Rolls-Royce. I understand. At $5,000, buy it and then sell it. Some people say, you know what, I don't have $5,000 cash. One of the limiting beliefs that paupers versus millionaires or billionaires, unsuccessful people in business versus successful people in business, is they think differently. I'll give you 2 key thoughts right now. Millionaires and billionaires, successful people in businesses, they never ask, how much does it cost? They want to know, how much can it make me? At the end of our conversation, I'm going to tell you about an opportunity to come study with me, either online or in person, at Turning Point. The retail investment for the program is $3,000, and yet I'm going to give you a 220% better than money back guarantee. That's how much I believe in my program. Absolutely zero risk. And I promise you that one of the things that you'll understand when you learn the knowledge inside of Turning Point is that when you stop asking how much does it cost and you start viewing it that money is math, you'll start seeing that many opportunities in your past have not been offered to you only because you didn't see them when they were right in front of you. The second thought that a millionaire or a billionaire thinks differently than a pauper is that paupers and people that do not succeed in lives, do not create substantial wealth, will often look at something, check out its price tag before they determine that they want it. If the price tag is out of reach, they simply say, you know what, I don't really want that thing. Millionaires and billionaires, on the other hand, see what they want, whether it's building a world-class hotel, whether it's launching an electronics firm, whether it's creating a brand new tennis shoe. They look at what they want, they see what it is, and even if they can't afford that plan, that vision, that dream, they know what it is and they say, that's okay, I'll make it happen. I want you to write down this question. It's a big one. The question is, what is the highest and best use of my time? I compliment you for being on this presentation, for taking the time out of your very, very busy business day and saying to yourself, I need new knowledge. Because yes, new knowledge creates new outcomes. New knowledge creates new possibilities. Abraham Lincoln said, if you have 60 minutes to chop down a tree, spend 40 minutes sharpening that axe. Now, you can chop down a tree with a totally dull axe. You can. The challenge is, as you whack at that tree, because the axe is dull, it's not effective. And even though you may be able to knock that tree down, it will take you the entire hour of chopping and chopping and chopping. And by the time you're done, your hands will be blistered and bloody. On the other hand, if you step back like you are on this webinar right now, and you say, you know what, I need new information, I'm going to sharpen the axe. And you spend 40 minutes sharpening the axe. It appears that the others that are whacking away with dull axes are getting ahead of you. Yet at 41 minutes, you step up to a tree, you swing it one time, and whoosh, the tree falls. You swing it again, whoosh, another tree falls. By the time your hour is done, 20 trees down, your hands are fine, you are eager to do more. You're the axe. I'm the grinding wheel. I want to sharpen your mind. I want to sharpen your skill sets. I want to help you understand there is a way for you to grow your business that's different than how you've been doing it, and it works. In the United States, there are approximately 500 commercial airports, 500 places that you can go to and fly wherever you want to. My home in San Diego on the beach is in a city called Carlsbad, halfway between Orange County and San Diego. If there's moderate traffic, I have to plan on at least a 90-minute drive to get to the airport either way. I park my car in long-term parking, which means I've got to get on a shuttle, which adds another 30 minutes that I have to allow for. I get to the airport 2 hours after I've left my home to stand in line with a minimum of a 90-minute window, to be poked and prodded by people making $15 an hour whose real pleasure, I'm thoroughly convinced, is to humiliate me before I get on my plane. 3.5 hours before my flight, I finally get on the plane. It takes off. When it lands, I go to bag claim, where I have to wait a minimum of 30 to 60 more minutes just to collect my bags, to schlep them through the airport, to get them to a car waiting outside curbside. 4 hours minimum added to my trip. 8 hours round trip. It's enough to make a man want to shave his head. My home in Carlsbad is 7 minutes away from a private airport. There's approximately 5,000 private airports in the United States. Palomar Airport, 7 minutes from my front door. I drive my car to the airport. I do not park it in long-term parking. In fact, I don't park it at all. I pull up right to the jet. I don't touch my bags. My pilot and the bag handlers grab my bags. They put them on the private jet. Within 10 minutes of leaving my front door, I am taxiing and airborne. My feet are up on the couch across from me, depending on time of day, favorite beverage in hand. When I land, it's the same thing. The car pulls up to the jet. The bags are immediately put into the car, and I drive off to my final destination. This is the look of a man who has flown commercially a half a dozen times over the last 8 years. This is the look of a man whose tray table was down on takeoff and freaking landing. Now, I don't tell you about my wealth to impress you with me. Let me be very clear on this. I'm plenty impressed with myself. Here is why I show you the lifestyle that I live these days. Based upon what I'm teaching you now, based upon changing the programs of your mind and also teaching you the skills of irresistible influence, I'm able to live a life that I could have only dreamed of in my wildest dreams as a young man. I want you to know that I'm not smarter than you. In fact, I'm a high school dropout. I dropped out of high school in my senior year because my mother was working 3 jobs and it was killing her. So I dropped out of school to take on a full-time job to assist my family. I'm not harder working. In fact, these days and for the last 20 or so years, I have not worked a day. I've not done anything on any day I didn't want to, including this conversation with you. I'm not more creative. I'm not better looking. Well, let's not go that far. I'm not smarter, that's for sure. What I do know is, as Napoleon Hill talked about in Think and Grow Rich, it is specialized knowledge that allows us to create what we create. The fact that you own your own business, the fact that you are an entrepreneur, the fact that you're on this conversation right now tells me a very simple fact, and that is that you're willing to do the hard work. Most entrepreneurs that I meet work much harder than employees. And in all respect of anybody who may be listening, the majority of the population has reached a time that if they are an employee, they are willing only to do as little as they possibly have to keep their jobs. Well, millionaires and billionaires, business owners for sure, we continually go above and beyond for our business, for our customers, or we are out of business. I want you to know this simple fact, and it's also in Think and Grow Rich, that these days of high competition, we are required as business people to under-promise and to over-deliver. By the time I'm done with this conversation, I have an amazing gift for you that I promise will change your life forever. That's allowed me to help people take their businesses and not only create strong 7-figure, 8-figure, even 9-figure businesses, it's allowed them to have their lives and live their lives in the way that they want to live them. 3 things you need to get anything you want in your life. 3 things to get wherever you want to go, do whatever you want to do. The photo on your screen right now is myself, my beautiful bride Erica, and Sir Richard Branson. That is Sir Richard Branson on the right of your screen, if you're wondering. For those of you that are wondering how a guy like me got a wife as beautiful and as sweet and as amazing as Erica, please be reminded I am a hypnotist. I put this picture up on the screen because one of the most joyful things I was able to do is my beautiful mother, Virginia, for her 80th birthday, I wanted to do something very special. I had the opportunity to have dinner with Sir Richard Branson, and it was my outcome to hypnotize him, to invite me to come to his island and allow me to bring my wife and my mother. During the dinner, we had great rapport. He indeed invited me to visit him at Necker Island down in the British Virgin Islands. At the end of the conversation, I said, would it be okay for me to bring my wife and my mom? And he said, absolutely. In fact, bring 27 of your closest friends. I said, fantastic. He said, you can have the whole island. It rents out for $350,000 a week. Now, one of the most powerful things that you can do in mastering your own mind is understand the power of intention. I had asked for him to invite me. I had neglected to consider that I might have to pay to be there. Well, once again, millionaires and billionaires, we don't let price tags stop us. So I didn't let the $350,000 price tag stop me from taking my beautiful mom down there for her 80th birthday. In order to charter the jet to fly us down, I also knew the charter would cost approximately $150,000. I had also planned for years to give my mother an amazing 80th birthday gift, and that was to fly all of her siblings, all of my siblings, all of my brothers and sisters' kids and their kids, 80 people in my mother's lineage, all to San Diego to my beach house to be able to celebrate her 80th birthday for a week. Total price tag for a week at Necker, the private jet, and the trip, $600,000. Now here's the question I have for you. Would you like to be so effective in your business endeavors, so powerful in your ability to make money, that you could give someone that you loved a $600,000 gift and not even flinch over it? In fact, would you like to understand how to run your business, the power of economy, the power of money so well that it didn't cost you $600,000, that it literally netted you $500,000 after you paid the expenses, an extra $500,000 in your pocket? Because that's exactly what I did for my mama, and I'm so glad that I was able to do that while she was here. 3 things you need to create anything you want. The first is something that I call self-mastery. Self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts and emotions. when you attend a Turning Point, either online or in person with me, which I would love because I love meeting entrepreneurs and business people, you'll understand that the elements of self-mastery are many. Here's just a few. I told you one a moment ago, and that is what you believe to be true is true for you, nothing else. Years ago, I was at a very low place in my life. I was approximately $250,000 in debt and was considering bankruptcy. It was all that I could to go inside of my mind with the training that I have been using and been teaching you right now. It was all that I could to not do that, to fail forward fast. In an instant, in roughly 30 days, I created a program that took me from being $250,000 in debt to having $2 million liquid net in the bank. Write this down. Thoughts are things. All powerful innovations are created first in thought, in imagination, before they're brought into the real world. Albert Einstein said imagination is more powerful than knowledge. Yet in the course of our busy days, often the thing that gets neglected is the time to sit back and be creative, to take that time early in your day before you become overwhelmed with employees, with deadlines, and all that goes into owning your own business. Early in the day to sit back, give yourself some meditation, some prayer, some quiet creative time to innovate, to come up with new ideas, to ask the what-if questions. I am about to launch a radio network that we soft launched a couple of years ago. And when we launched the network, while it was moderately successful, it wasn't the overwhelming success that I knew it could be. So I put it on the burner for a couple of years, and recently the innovation hit me in my morning meditation like a freight train. The innovation is so powerful that in our short tests, we realize we will go from 0 listeners to over 1 million in less than 6 weeks. So powerful was that slight thought, that minor innovation, that it will change broadcasting forever. Self-mastery is also understanding this. Write this down. What you focus on expands. What you focus on expands. The economy does not have to be your economy. I agreed to do this presentation for 2 reasons. The first is I have a desire to win a Nobel Prize in economics by first changing the economy in the United States and then changing it worldwide. How I'm doing that is exactly what we're doing here. By helping entrepreneurs, helping small businesses, helping mid-sized businesses focus and produce more, better serve their customers, increase their sales revenue, push their businesses to the next level. Rather than focusing on tough times, on shaky government or economies or all the things that come together to stop us from doing what we love, I choose to focus on what's right, what's working, and when things don't work, to shift them. Write this down. Reality is created by validation. Reality is created by validation. If I were to line up my students that have been through Turning Point and show you in many different fields their successes, growing their businesses, taking them to the next level, the tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of people that I have trained over the course of the last 28 years will help you to realize that it doesn't matter whether you sell widgets, whether you provide a service, whether you are a creative or entertainment type, every business can grow to multi-million-dollar and multi-billion-dollar status. If I were to ask you, do you think it's possible for a real estate investor to become a billionaire, you'd say, of course, the evidence is everywhere. Well, here's 2 more questions then. Is it possible to become a billionaire by tinkering in your garden and playing in your kitchen? The answer is a resounding yes. Her name is Martha Stewart. Is it possible to become a billionaire, a multi-billionaire, by eating fire, riding a unicycle, and playing the accordion? And the answer is absolutely. His name is Guy Laliberte. He is the founder of Cirque du Soleil. So one of the keys in understanding how to grow a business is to make sure, in the words of Steve Jobs, that you find what you love, to the point that there is no battle, there is no effort, there's simply great joy in doing what you love to create what you would love to create. To give you a little more validation that I could take any person watching this video right now, on this presentation right now, I could take any person and within 12 months make them a millionaire. To make sure there is no doubt in your mind watch this short video from an appearance from a few years ago, as you'll tell by the hairstyle, on one of my many appearances on the Montel Williams Show.
Representative Lewis, you and Jessica, the two of you, let's go back. How long ago before you went to one of Marshall Sylver's?
3 years.
3 years ago. So before you walked into seminar 3 years ago, what was life like?
Tough.
In what way?
It was a struggle because my main objective has always been to have a family. I'm Latin. I'm all about the family.
You come from Colombia, first generation here.
Yes.
Had some skills, college degree down in Colombia.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Came here, tough finding a job, bilingual issues, right?
I didn't speak any English. I came to this country with 50 bucks thinking that I was gonna...
Wait, stop. You came to this country with how much money in your pocket?
50.
$50 in your pocket.
Yes.
So now you go to Marshall seminar, and he starts making you realize that you had the potential inside of you to do much more than you were doing.
Yes.
How did you two hook up? You met?
We met. I was also broke myself and took a job as a receptionist. And I was blessed by taking the hard road. I met Luis there, so that was a cool.
And I should just jump to the chase and say that now that the two of you have been at the seminar, you've been working at his tools and using the information he gave you, your net worth right now is approximately what? From $50 to what?
$5 million.
$5 million in How about Hunter and Debbie? How you guys doing? Talk about this program. When did you go to Marshall Sylver?
Fantastic. I went to a real estate industry where they were selling books and tapes, and Marshall had showed up there for a show. First saw a show, and it really excited me what Marshall was talking about.
What year was this again?
This was 2000. This was 2000 when I met Marshall.
Okay.
And when I met Marshall, he just turned my life around by giving me the passion and influence and persuasion and influence of what I was doing and believing in myself once again even more, another level like he's talking about.
What are you guys worth right now?
Well, right now we're controlling over $20 million with real estate.
Bravo.
Awesome.
Everybody welcome Jerry. Jerry. Come on, talk to me for a second. You first met him when, 1997?
97. I actually went to his hypnotist show.
And don't talk about it because you don't believe in hypnosis.
I didn't at all. My sister Claudia was very persuasive and got me to go to the show.
She drug you, actually.
She did, and I watched it and said, I don't think that's real. Not only did he perform with these people that were very, unscripted, when he was done, he said, imagine if you knowledge is power, and imagine if you could harness this knowledge and then put that to work in your business. And I thought, wow, I mean, that's quite a concept. And I went through his training program, and that's exactly what I did.
And it's 2007, and your company right now is worth what, sir?
We do just over $100 million a year in business. We're two-time Inc. 500.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. You do what?
Just over $100 million.
$100 million in business. All right, we'll get right back right after this.
Self-mastery is the ability to control your thoughts and emotions. It's the ability to understand which programs may have inhibited you in the past. It's the ability to understand what programs need to be planted there. As I mentioned before, psychoneuroduplication, or PND, what we teach at Turning Point, allows you to isolate the thoughts of people who produce similar results so that you can program your mind and do those same results effortlessly. Write this down. It's not enough to learn, one must become. At my seminars, I use a lot of metaphors and a lot of examples. In fact, one of the things I promise you is that anytime you study with me, anytime you get together with me in person for sure, our time will go by very quickly. I believe in a strong policy of entertaining people, and that funny means money. You see, all buying decisions, and a buying decision doesn't necessarily mean you pulled out cash or a check or a credit card. It could mean a buying decision to change your relationships, to change your health, to change something in your life. All buying decisions are based first on emotion and then backed up with logic. No one needs a $400,000 automobile to get from point A to point B until you've driven one. No one needs a 17,000 square foot palace until you've lived in one. The same thing is true for your customers. While a lot of people attempt to influence people through logic, through giving them reasons they need the product, Ultimately, all buying decisions are based first emotionally and then backed up logically. In addition, your subconscious mind is your emotional mind. Your conscious mind is your logical mind. Hypnosis is the ability to speak directly to the subconscious mind, to bypass the critical factor of the conscious mind and speak to the emotional mind. What that also implies and means is that all buying decisions are based first subconsciously and then backed up consciously. The higher the ticket, the greater that truth holds. Self-mastery is understanding that validation, once again, is always created by reality. Reality is also always created by validation. If, in fact, I were to line up multiple people in your business that had massively succeeded by using the skills and strategies and lessons that I've taught them, there is a point where your own self-doubt, your own limiting beliefs would have to be released, because you would see other people with massive success in your field doing things slightly differently. Self-mastery is taking complete and total control of your communication, both inside of your mind and what comes out of your mouth. In my live seminars, I'll do a demonstration where I'll walk into the audience and I'll ask people to introduce themselves to me. I'll walk up to the first person and I'll say, "Hello, my name is Marshall." They'll give me back their first name. I'll walk up to another person and I'll say, "Hello, my name is Marshall Sylver." And the person will give back to me their first and last name. Test this out if you don't believe it. When we get done with our lesson, go say hello to a couple of strangers and see how they respond. I want you to write this down. You get back what you send out. I'll repeat it. You get back what you send out. If many people are saying no to you, it's because you're fun to say no to. At Turning Point, I'm going to teach you how to become fun to say yes to. I'm going to teach you how to become irresistibly influential. I'm going to teach you how to communicate in such profound ways that not only do people buy your products and services, your teammates, your employees have an overwhelming desire to follow you, to support you, to lift you up and carry you to where you want to go. 3 things you need to create anything you want. The first is always self-mastery. The second thing you need to create anything you want are the proper tools for the task at hand. Now, every task has different tools, and yet in business, there is one primary tool that when you master this tool, the world is your cornucopia. When you master this tool, you can have everything you want, and the possibilities for your business are infinite. The tool for business, the most important, most powerful, essential tool that every business owner, every business person must possess and must utilize in its grandest form is the tool of irresistible influence. And I gave you the definition earlier. If you didn't write it down, I want you to write it down verbatim because it's going to make you tingle. Influence isn't getting somebody else to say yes. I want you to write this down. Influence is getting someone else to ask you for what you're selling. I'll repeat it. Influence is the ability to get other people to ask you for what you're selling. And that's not even the part that's going to make you tingle. Here it is. Influence is the ability to get other people to ask you for what you're selling and have them believe it was their idea. I love it. I don't know if you get out much. You know, in the midst of what has been, for many, a challenging time in our economy, there are still businesses that thrive. I happen to be a big fan of Apple products. And if you walk into any Apple store in any Apple mall in any city worldwide, I promise you at any given moment, it's packed. There are generally people lined up at the counter that you've got to wait to give them money. This past year, I went in October to buy a gift for my wife. I wanted to buy her the newest iPad. I walked into the store and I said, I just want to buy an iPad. They said, sir, stand in line. I said, you don't understand. I just want to give you my money. They said, so do all those other people, sir. Please forgive us. You'll have to stand in line unless you have the Apple Store app. I said, what's that? They said, download the app, scan the product yourself, okay the payment method, walk out the door right now with the product in your hand. Wouldn't you love to create a business, a culture, a psychology where people were throwing their money at you? When you come and watch me speak at a live event, you'll see that when I close, masses of people race to the back of the room to begin a lifetime relationship with me, not only because the offer is irresistible, because I give always a better than money-back guarantee. The tools for the task at hand are essential, and it's essential that you identify what those tools are for your business. And if you are not in the understanding in the business that you must learn the skills of irresistible influence, then your business is suffering for it. When you come to Turning Point, I'm going to demonstrate what we call full awareness programming. You'll learn the skills that will appear as if you're only having a simple conversation with someone, and yet you will watch me repeatedly sell things to people that they didn't even know they wanted, and yet when I'm done, not only ask me to sell them to them, be grateful next week, next month, years from now that they made that investment with me. If you would like to learn how to sell anyone, anything at any time, and you have a powerful product or service, then you have a moral and ethical obligation to sell that product unapologetically. It's good for you, it's good for your customers, it's good for the entire economy. 3 things you need to create anything you want. Number 1, self-mastery. Number 2, you need the proper tools. The 3rd thing you need to get anything that you want is the one thing that I cannot teach you. When you attend Turning Point, either online at your leisure, or you come to one of our live events, which I would love because I'd love to meet you and be able to give you some personal attention for your business, you're going to learn the powerful tools of programming your own mind and the absolutely irresistible tools of influence, how to sell anyone, anything, whether online, whether in person, whether in mail, whether in advertising. The hypnotic selling skills that you will learn at Turning Point are just that, irresistible. The 3rd thing you need to create anything you want is the ability to take action now, in the present moment, because tomorrow never comes. Of the 3 skills, self-mastery, tools, and action now is the most powerful skill. I'm sure you've heard the expression that even a blind squirrel finds a nut once in a while. That's very, very true. The challenge is no one, no mentor, no teacher, no webinar, no seminar, no book, no college can teach you anything. All they can do is put the opportunity ahead of you. I've shown you many of my successful students. By law, the FTC requires me to, if I show you people that have been victorious with what I've taught them, that have massively succeeded with my books and tapes and seminars, I'm also obligated by law to tell you the average result. And I'll give that to you right now. In fact, I'll go even further. I'll not only give you the average result of the average person that goes through my seminar, I'll give you the average result of the average person that goes through any seminar, of the person that goes through any 2-year, 4-year, 6-year, 8-year or more curriculum in college. The average result of the average person is just slightly above 0. And it would be 0 if it weren't for people like you and me. If it weren't for people that did a little more, pressed a little harder, learned a little more, focused a little better. You see, in any given business, in any given world, there are people that are average and there are people that are exceptional. And the only question I have for you is, what are you? If you're listening right now to this webinar, if you're watching my presentation and you realize that there's something special about you, and you realize even if you're already a millionaire that there may be knowledge that could take it to the next level, if you realize not just you, that many people inside of your business would benefit from understanding these powerful skills, I have an amazing gift for you. I have an opportunity for you to study in depth this information, for you to learn how to control your thoughts and emotions, how to instantly program your mind with whatever thoughts you want in your area of expertise. You see, Turning Point is not just for businesses. If you want to have better relationships, if you want to find the love of your life, if you want to learn to be healthier physically, to take off the fat, to focus your mind, to increase your retention level, to not only be emotionally, mentally, physically, and even spiritually empowered, if you want to learn how to run your business at its highest levels and take your revenue streams to the next level, then you got to take action now.